Yeah, an audio. Yeah, nobody watches videos. They look at it for 4 seconds and they turn away. The only thing they really look at is the audio. So tzitzit is only required if it's a 4-corner garment. Okay. Now there's a mahloket. What does that mean? Is it on the person or is it on the garment? So bottom line, if you're wearing a 4-corner garment, you have to put tzitzit. Fine. The tzitzit today is that every king has a signet ring, right? It has like a symbol, a sign. Our sign is the tzitzit.
Not the kippah?
No. The tzitzit from the Torah, the kippah is the Rabbanan. If they shouldn't walk 4 amot in the Gemara, Maser Barachot, you shouldn't walk 4 amot without a kippah on your head.
Tzitzit is also hidden.
Tzitzit, so that's where it comes from. So the first thing is uditem oto. When you look at them, right? Pasuk says uditem oto. Well, so there's a mahloket. What does it mean? So the Ashkenazim learn uditem oto that you have to be outside. It has so everyone can see them. The Sfaradim learn uditem oto means it's on a beged shel yom. A beged shel yom means a day that you wear during the day, a shirt that you wear during the day. My pajamas do not require tzitzit if it's a 4-corner garment. But if that's the way we learn it, okay? So there's a few things now. What this stuff is a lot of hints, remazim, gematriot, very nice things. But at the end, we'll do the Orah Hayim that explains what the whole purpose of tzitzit and what it's about. Okay? So the first thing is the pasuk says uritem oto uschatem. So if you want to look at it, because I spent 6 hours on this thing for you, so I'm sure you'll give it a little whirl. Right? The pasuk says uritem oto uschatem. Right? So if we read it, it says, look, if you want my Tesla, you're gonna have to earn it.
I'm listening.
Good, okay. דבר אל בני ישראל ואמרת להם, עשו להם סיסית על כנפי בידיהם לדורותיו, ונתנו על סיסית הכנף פתיל תכלת. והיה לכם סיסית וריתם אותו וזכרתם. So the Gemara Menachot says, what are you going to see and what are you going to remember? Right? What is it? Like we mentioned on Shabbat that when you see the tzitzit, it reminds you of all the mitzvot. Okay, I look at my tzitzit, it does not remind me of all the mitzvot. So there's certain hints and emazim that go through that I want you to know about that will help you understand what this whole mitzvah is about. The Ramban explains that the techelet is a blue strand, right? Mm-hmm. The techelet reminds you of the sea. Domeh layam, right? Because the sea is also blue. And the sea also reminds you of the rakia. Because when you see the sea, you see the rakia. It's not like it's buildings in front of the rakia. And it's the same color. The sky. No, the sky. You look. If you're by the beach, you'll see the ocean. It's always attached, right? You see the sky. And when you look at the rakia, you got to think of kisei hakavod. You think of kisei hakavod because Hashem's in Shamayim.
So isn't that kind of like the kippah that he's above me?
Yes.
This is just going through a bunch of more steps to get there.
No, this is just to explain. Remember, these are not going. You'll never know the real reason of tzitzit. Moshe Rabbeinu. There's a question in the Gemara: how was Moshe Rabbeinu able to be so ana for so long? Moshe ana mikol adam, right? He was the most humble man in the world. How can it be? The guy freaking took us out of tonight. He did all these, makot, Yam Suf. He split water for crying out loud. You're gonna tell me that he's the most ana? It's not. Come on, you can't tell me that. It's right or wrong. I mean, come on. So the Midrash says that when he went to Shamayim to accept the Torah, he sees the Malach is giving him the Torah. And he shows him this giant light, this giant or, whatever that means, right? It's all metaphors. This giant or, this giant light. And he's able to, and he asks him, he goes, wow, what is that? He goes, that's the light of tzitzit. He tells him that's the light of tzitzit. And he says, what's this light about? So what is tzitzit, he says. So he tells tzitzit's made from wool.
This is a midrash?
Midrash, yeah. A wool of a sheep. So he says, how could something so amazing could come from something so small? A sheep, wool of a sheep, that's what it becomes? So Moshe Rabbeinu said to himself, that must be what God does. God must take the lowest things of the low and bring them up to the highest of the high. So if I'm the one that's in Shamayim, accepting the Torah to give to Bnei Yisrael, I must be the lowest creature in the world. That's what the Midrash says, how he was able to be so anav. Because not that he saw all these amazing things, but he saw them and it humbled him. It didn't make him bigger, it made him smaller. So that's just something about tzitzit. Now, there, now in the Gemara Menachot, it says that when you see them, the Re'iyah is going to bring you to Zechira. Remember, it says, Uritem oto uzchartem. So what is it so we know that the Re'iyah, when you see something, it reminds you, and when it reminds you, you do Maaseh. So you have the Re'iyah, the Zechira, and Maaseh. Right? And also you should know, yeah.
Sorry to interrupt you. Mommy said that you have to go do the water from the garage.
Do you know where it is?
No.
I'll do it. Hold on. All right. So back to what we were saying. So again, the Re'iyah seeing will bring you to remember. When you see the tzitzit, it's going to make you remember the mitzvot, and by remembering the mitzvot, it's going to help you do the mitzvot, maaseh. And we were saying before that it says in Mishnah Berurah. Mishnah Berurah was the Havetz Haim. He says that whoever looks at the when you look at the tzitziot, when you're in Shema, ulitem oto chatem, it's a segula that you won't become blind. Okay, he writes in Mishnah Berurah. Mishnah Berurah is a book of halacha, and he writes this. It says shelo yavo lidei simui enayim.
Repeat that.
That when you say Shema, you have to hold all arba kerafot, right? You have to put all the four, and you put them between your pinky. Okay, and you hold them. And when you're saying ulitem oto chatem et kometzutai, when you're reading the Shema, you look at them, and when you look at them every day, it's a segula that your eyes will not be weak. Won't be weakened. He says you won't become blind. And it's a segula. It's actually brought down in the Gemara Masechet Berachot. So now other things. Now the other parts of the Gemara, it says when you see, it's going to bring you zechira. What's it going to bring you zechira? Kiryat Shema, and it's also going to bring you kilayim. That you can't wear shanis together. All right. Now also the Gemara says that tzitzit shakul keneged kol hamitzvot. The mitzvah of tzitzit is equivalent to all the mitzvot that are in the Torah. That's a heavy statement. Okay.
Equals 613.
No, we didn't get there yet. Don't cheat. That's not because tzitzit. The Gemara.
No, is that why they're saying they equal?
But because we're going to see later. But it's shakul. That's what the Gemara says in Menachot. Tzitzit shakul keneged kol mitzvot. That's not you could do this mitzvah and don't do all the others, but to show you how amazing the mitzvah of tzitzit is. And tzitzit is zecher. So now the question is now the big question, right, is how is the tzitzit reminds of the mitzvot? So here comes the fun stuff.
So what was this whole thing with Kisei HaKavod that it
reminds me of Kisei HaKavod.
So it's not just the mitzvah, it also reminds me that Hashem is above me. It also reminds me in Shema that it's not going to make me blind.
Yes.
And
it's going to help me do the mitzvot, maaseh. The Re'iyah brings the zechira, which brings me to the maaseh. Right. Now, also, when you look at this, now I wanted to bring out I think it's important if we're going to do this, we got to do it right. So here are tzitziot. Not so good in the lighting. Time for new ones.
Off-white tzitzit.
No, you got to get new ones. I really got to get new ones. All right. So
What about the tchelet?
I don't have that. I don't wear techelet because Rabbi Azakor, who's my rabbi, doesn't wear techelet. I never. That's the only reason. I never looked into it. I don't know anything about it. I know that people do. I heard Rabbi Mazuz, who's a giant posek, Sfaradi posek, wore it on Shabbats. He wore techelet talit with Shabbat. He also said that he wore it on Shabbat so people don't take pictures and say that Rabbi Mazuz says you have to wear techelet to go wear techelet.
So Rabbi Aluf did? Is that why my dad does it?
I don't know. That whole world, I never knew anything about it. It wasn't my thing. I just didn't know. I don't know. I don't know if I should ask the rabbi about it, why he doesn't wear it, but I never got into it. So look, tzitzit, right, is the gematria of 600. Sadi Yud Taf, right, equals 600. You have the how many strings do you have here?
8.
8, plus you have how many knots?
5.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Right? That equals 613, and that gets you to Tariag Mitzvot. But also, what the Gemara says is also beautiful, the other Gematria of 6. Now, what's the purpose of Gematria? To connect one thing to another. It's nice. It's to tell you that there's a coincidence between the two. Now, you don't learn halakha from Gematriot, and you don't learn, and it doesn't work. It's like an asmachta. In the Gemara, you have asmachta. When you see something in one place and another, you could connect it together, but you don't learn something. It's not halakha, but it's nice to know that there's a rem is. When the Rabbi, I think it's maybe the Rabbi Akiva says that whoever takes care of tzitzit is going to be zocheh lirot penei Shekhinah. Is going to be zocheh to one day see the face of the Shekhinah. How do we know? Because we have a pasuk ani besedek ehezeh panecha. The word sidkot, right? Righteousness is 600. To show you that ani besedek, with my righteousness, I will show you my face. And another one, nesharim, is 600. Kanfei nesharim. So ve'isa etchem al kanfei nesharim. To show you that you're going to go above, you don't realize how much tzitzit helps you springboard all the mitzvot that we do. It makes things so much more stronger. So we're going to continue. Let's see. Hotim, right? Hotim are our strings. How many strings do we have total? We have 8 on each side, right? We have 4 sides. How much is that? It's 32. Right? What's 32? Lev. Heart. Right? And it says in Gemara, Tzitzit yagen alenu al machshava ra'a balev, shebalev. That the tzitzit is going to protect us against evil thoughts that are in your mind, that are in your heart. Okay? And also, I think the Baal Turim says that a person that is careful with tzitzit will also it will help protect him from the 8 different evarim that we have in our body. These 8 strings on each side is going to help protect us from sinning with 8 of evarim. The oznayim, the enayim, the peh, the hotem, the hands, the feet, the erva, the lev.
That's the erva.
Erva is in Brit Milah. You forgot about that one. Yeah, look, all these things, the 8. That if a person is careful with these things, he's going to also be able to go past the rakia. You don't realize what a person's ability could be. And you have potential. You have real potential. Everybody does. So that was the hotim. Now let's go to the kisharim. The kisharim are the knots. Here are the knots. So how many knots you have? We said 5. Right? Keneged hamisham she Torah. That's another way to remember the Torah. Right? The mitzvot. You have how many? Now each knot is tied twice. So it's 5 times 2 is ased diberot. Also eset sefirot. Eset sefirot. Hashem created the world with 10 midot. Keter, Chochmah, Bina, Chesed, Gevura, Tiferet, Hod, Netzach, Yesod, Malchut. Okay, 10 different sfirot to show you that it reminds you that Hashem created the world, and that's what He created the world with. There's also 10 ma'amarot. Hashem used 10 utterances to make the world. Right? These are all this. So when you look at the 5 times 2, you have 10. That's what you're thinking about 10. Leman tizkeru va'asitem et kol mitzvotai. Okay, Rashi Tevot of leman tizkeru va'asitem kol mitzvotai is malchut. Remember, we talked in the beginning. The Orahim says that this is your signet ring.
Yeah.
That's a Jew. How do you know a Jew? If he's wearing a kippah or tzitzit. If he's not wearing tzitzit, look, I didn't wear kippah when I went out, especially when I worked, but I always wore tzitzit. That's how you know a Jew. It's through tzitzit. You have malchut. And leman tizkeru, the word tizkeru is also the letters of what? Zu keter. Keter is what? A crown. Zu is this is your crown. This is another way to remind yourself that you are a Jew. Right? David HaMelech was in the Beit HaMirchatz, right? And he was saying that there's always, I have everything around me. That's a Jew is always surrounded by simanim that he's a Jew. How? Because you have tefillin shel rosh, you have tefillin shel yad, tzitzit, you have arba kenafot, you have mezuzah on the doors, right? That's 7 different things that you get to see all the time as a reminder. And that's when he wrote Mizmor Sheva Beyom Hilalticha. 7 times in the day I praise you. Why? Because all these things get done every day. You put on your tefillin shel rosh, you put on your tefillin shel yad, your tzitziot are on you, your mezuzah is on your door. These are 7 things. He gets to the Beit Mirchatz one day, and now he sees that he was arum, no clothes on, and he says, I don't have anything. I got nothing. Till he says, I have my Brit Milah. Because the Brit Milah is also that's how you know what a Jew is. That's why a person that does, God forbid, he tries to cover his Brit Milah is like karet. You're trying to hide who you are. So, and then that's when he wrote another mizmor, Lam Natseach al Sheminit Mizmor le David. He's singing about the 8th thing. What's the 8th? Because look, these equal up to 7. Rosh, Yad, Tzitzit, right? 4 of them. Mezuzah is 7. When he realized he had the Milah, that's the 8th. All right, but you realize that the Tzitziot are the majority of the 7. Mm-hmm. Right? Tefillin shel rosh is only counted as 1. Yad only 1. Mezuzah 1. Tzitzit is 4. It's a strong thing. Okay, moving on. Now we have the kerichot. Right? Now let's talk about we talked about the strings, 8. We talked about 8 around, which is 32, which is live. We talked about these, which is, right, 5, which is also 10. Now we're going to talk about the wrappings. You ever notice the wrappings? You have wrappings around the tzitzit. These are wrappings. Look at it.
Yeah.
All right, you know how to do it? It's Chinese staircase. So you take one, okay, and you go like this. Wrap it around like this. Take it again. Pull it around. Another one. These are now. There's different ways to see this, and that's how you see how it gets like that. So this is how you get this.
Mm-hmm.
So the Shulchan Aruch writes, how many do you do it in? What's the order? So we follow the Arizal. Some people have that. Rambam also has a very popular thing, but I'm going to tell you what the Arizal says, and this is what I do, and this is what a lot of people do. The order is 7, 8, 11, 13. Okay, each one. Try to count it. You have the first one is 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. The next one's 8. The next one, this is 11, and this is 13. See how it gets higher, right? You can tell it gets higher. So the first two sets of wrappings equals the name of Hashem, Yud K. A Yud and a Hey. It's 15. 7 plus 8 is 15. Then you have the 11, that gives you Hashem's full name, Yud K Vav K. Then you have 13 is the Gematria of Ehad. So all these kerichot tell you what? Hashem Ehad. It reminds you that God is one. It reminds you that God is one. Okay? This is, again, all these things, you just one quick glance, and you start remembering them. It's an amazing, beautiful mitzvah that we have. The Ben Ish Chai brings down that when you serve Hashem in Shelemut, you have to do it with 3 things, with kavanah, dibur, and maaseh. Your kavanah has to be right. Your dibur, how you do it has to be right, and the maaseh of the mitzvah also has to be right. All right. Now, tzitzit is a zecher. We know tzitzit is zecher for all the mitzvot of Hashem. Right. Now, in order to serve Him, ahava, you have to serve be'ahava. Right. And we said be'ahava with kavanah, dibur, and maaseh. The gematria of ahava is 13. 13 times 3, 39. Okay. 39. You see, it's tied into Hashem Echad.
Why times 3?
Because kavanah, dibur, maaseh. Everything has to be done be'ahava, with love. No, Hashem doesn't want you to do the mitzvot just because you have to. Nobody wants anyone doing anything because they have to. There's no fun in that. You want to be excited, like you're going to a game. That's how excited you should be about putting on your tefillin. It takes time to get there because we weren't trained that way, but that's what it's about.
I don't do it out of
no,
I do it
I know.
I'm
Yirah. You do it because it's.
I'm scared if I don't, then
right.
It just means bad. It means punishment.
Right. Well, you're right, but
you have to do both.
Even the Gedulim, even when they're already at the level of Ahava, they still have the Yirah behind. Mesilat Yesharim says that Yirat Het and Yirat Romemut are two different. Yirat Romemut is understanding the awesomeness of God, but at the same time, people are still worried that they're going to get shot down with a lightning bolt.
So how do you get to a point where you're at both?
You have to think about the beauty of the mitzvot and how much God gives you, and how you will never be able to repay Him. But you don't think about it. Think about, we say every morning, Roka haaretz al hamayim. The fact that we have land over water. The world is made out of water. You know, there's 5 people that are submerged now. They can't find them.
Yeah, and
I'm free. I can't. I don't even know if they're Jewish, but I can't imagine being that. What would they do to be Roka'at Almayim right now?
Yeah.
No word. 90 hours they're running out of air. And they can't escape because they'll get crushed by the water. Because I looked it up. How many feet could you go there? I looked the videos.
Yeah.
It's not a joke. It's scary stuff. But just that alone, you'll give your life for. A person who's, God forbid, blind is considered dead because he can't see. We take it for granted because we assume that we're taking it for granted, but that doesn't mean that he's still not giving. And you need to spend time to remember that so you could appreciate it. So it's not that you can't get there; it's that we take things for granted. We assume it's going to be done. You're 1/60th dead when you go to sleep. If I took a gun and I put a whole bunch of barrels, right? There's a whole bunch of barrels, 60 of them, and I say, okay, Russian roulette, right? I'm gonna. One of them has the bullet. Are you gonna be so calm? No. You're 160 dead anyway when you go to sleep, but you still do it. Why? Because you assume you're gonna wake up. Because that's just the way we take it for granted.
It's a good example.
There's so many, by the way, so many.
Did you hear that example?
I just came up with it now.
Oh yeah.
Emet, yeah, just came up with it now.
Wow.
You don't think when you see the sun, Jesse, the sun.
When I go to sleep.
No, but be excited. That's what makes you excited, because I know I should be dead, but you always wake me up. That's the first words that come out of my mouth. Modeh ani lefanecha. I am attesting. I appreciate. Thank you. Right? Melech hai v'kayam. The sun. You think when you look at the sun, not directly, but when you look at the sun, imagine Hashem's hand holding it out, just for you, Jesse. Just so you could walk during the street, so you can get warm. He puts the clouds. He takes the clouds away. He gives you some rain, whatever. You know what I mean? But it's all done. But nothing moves. Not unless Hashem wants it, allows it to, if Hashem wants it to. It's not like Hashem just lets it go and whatever happens, happens. It's not on autopilot. Yeah. It's this blade of grass that moved, God moved it for a specific purpose. He's micromanaging the entire world. And when you think about that, now you start, by the way, you're not going to walk out of here saying, I love God. And, you start doing everything besimcha. But you need to, it needs to be absorbed.
How much of the world is in his control?
100%. You are in. What do you mean, what do you?
I'm in control of myself. I have free will.
Okay, so bottom line, you're never going to get an answer to that question. You can't ask things that your mind cannot comprehend. You need to accept it as fact that God will know what you're going to do and still not take away from your will.
That took me a couple of years to figure out, but I understood that part. It's how can he be in control of 100% if I'm also controlling my part? The fact that he knows what I'm going to do and I'm still going to choose it for myself.
Your limit. You can't compare his unlimitedness to your limitedness. You're limited.
But
he's unlimited.
The clouds moving and my hand moving. He has the same amount of control in both.
He has control, but he lets you have. But there's nothing wrong with allowing you to have control. You're allowed to do what you want. He allows you to have that control. It doesn't mean that he's not in control anymore. It just means that he's letting you do something.
So how is he in control if he's allowing me?
Because he could do what he wants. So don't ask questions you won't be able.
Like he could take control if he wants.
Look, the philosophical part of it, I don't know I don't know if there is an answer, but I know that it's fact. That I know. I know it's fact. I know that no matter, there's nothing. There's no what's the word? There's no fulfillment you're going to get by knowing this answer. I promise. It won't matter. At the end of the day, the Yetzer Hara is trying to find reasons that it's not, or just to get you busy thinking that it's not. But at the end of the day, it's not going to matter. That's really the bottom line. You don't have to worry about this question. I promise you, you ain't going to live any different if you just left the question alone. You know what I mean? It ain't going to make much of a difference in your life. Okay, so remember, so that's how you get to Ahava. But you really, the way you get to Ahava is thinking, contemplation. Think about what God gives you, what you're not deserving of, how you can never pay him back, and at the same time, he still gives it to you. And again, think about the submarine. Think about the gun example. There's more. Think about, what else do we say? We say waking up in the morning. We went over 2 examples. But there's so many. The fact that you're born a Jew, what are the odds? The Jews, 1% of the world? Yeah, we're in the news every day, and half the people in power are Jews. Okay, moving on. So the Ben Ish Chai says that, remember, Tzitzit is a zecher for. Now, how do we connect the Ahava to Tzitzit? Because we said Ahava 3 times. Kavanah, Dibur, and Maaseh. Ahava, which is 13, the Gematria is 13, times 3, Keneged, Kavanah, Dibur, Maaseh is 39. How many wraparounds do we have? 39. So when you see this, not only do you say Hashem Echad, but you're also going to say, I need to serve Hashem be'ahava, be'kavanah, be'dibur ma'aseh. My kavanah, what I say and what I do. I do it be'simcha, happy. Why? Because it remembers it's the gematria of 39, of tal. Now, if you look over here, that's why it's called a talit. Why? Because tal is 39, right? We said we have the taf over here, we have the lamed. Mm-hmm. Now we're left with the ta. I'm sorry, we're left with the tet and the yud, which is the gematria of what? 410, which is what? Kadosh. When you serve Hashem b'shlemut, you become kadosh. So when you're looking at the kerachim, when you're looking at these wraparounds at 39, you're not only saying that I have to serve Hashem be'simcha, but it's also going to teach me that that's why it's called a talit. This whole beged is called a talit. Why? Because in order to get the kiddusha, you have to have the 39. And how do you get the 39? How do you get the kiddusha? By wearing tzitzit. Unbelievable. Okay, moving along. Now I'm going to tell you the connection between tzitzit and Shabbat. Okay, did you know there's a connection between Tzitzit and Shabbat? Well, now you do. Rashi says in the parasha with Mekoshes Itzim, right? There's a person that was breaking branches on Shabbat, right? And then it's somech with Tzitzit. The next parasha is talking about Tzitzit in the parasha. You have a guy talking about, Mehalel Shabbat, or they kill him, right? They stone him, and then Tzitzit. Rashi says, why did they put them together? To show that just like Shabbat is keneged kol mitzvot, which we know, Shabbat is keneged all the mitzvot, so too Tzitzit is keneged all the mitzvot. To show the power of Tzitzit. The power of Tzitzit. And the Gaon of Vilna says there's the siman of this. Because how many, we went through, how many wraparounds do we have?
39.
39. How many melachot of Shabbat do we have? 39.
Oh.
39. To show you a beautiful example of the connection between Tzitzit and Shabbat. Okay? Now we're going to go more to the Ben Ish Chai. This is gorgeous. The Ben Ish Chai says, where it says Yom Hashishi, right? In Bereshit, on the 6th day. What's the Hay coming to teach you? The Hay is coming to teach you that the Kedusha of Shabbat starts on the 5th hour of the day on Friday. The Kedusha of Shabbat rolls in on the 5th, way before Shabbat starts. The 5th hour, so let's say sunrise is 6 a.m., so at 10 a.m.
10?
Oh, no, I'm sorry, you're right, 11 a.m. I was about to make fun of you, it's a good thing I didn't. 11 a.m. that's when Shabbat starts. That's when the Kedusha of Shabbat starts. So what do you have left? You have 12-hour day, and you have, and you took away 5 hours from the day. How many hours you have? You have left 7. Shabbat itself, how many hours? The total of Shabbat is 24 hours. And then when does Shabbat end? 1 hour after sunset. So you look at 1 hour from Motzei Shabbat. So you have a total of 32 hours that you have Kedushat Shabbat. Keneged what? The 32 strings of tzitzit that's wrapped around you. The 4 corners, each, right? 8, 8, 8, 8, 4 times. And what? Ve'iten lecha mish'alot libecha. Hashem should give you to your heart's content. Libecha, lev gematria 32. It's a beautiful connection between Shabbat over here showing that Shabbat is Keneged Kol Mitzvot, so is Tzitzit. The Gaon Mevina shows you a connection between 39 wrappings and 39 melachot of Shabbat. We bring the Ben Ish Chai Yom Hashishi to teach you that there's 32 hours of Kedusha, and you're able to, and you're able to wear and to connect the 32 strands of Tzitzit. Now, even something crazier. Parashat Tzitzit has how many words? 69 words. Now we say Hashem Elokechem Emet. We say, right? Emet is what? 70. It's a remes to the what? To the word ayin. How much is 70 to Gematria? 70. Remember we talked about it's health for your eyes. It's good for your eyes. Mm-hmm. So 70 words in the entire parasha of Tzitzit. Vayom Hashem Moshe Lemod David El Bnei Seva Matar Lehem V'Asu Lehem Tzitzit HaKartei B'Dehem LeDorotav V'Natunu Tzitzit. That whole paragraph, 70 words with the name Emet, with the word Emet. Okay, to show you the ayin. Now I'm going to add something extra. We know we have a connection between Yetziat Mitzrayim and Tzitzit. How? When Hashem tells Moshe that he's going to take him out, what does he say? He says, Eke Asher Eke. He says, he uses the name Aleph, Hey, of a Yud and a Hey, right? You know that pasuk? Let's bring it out. Let's take that Chumash.
Is it Asher?
Right. But let's look at it inside for a minute. In Parashat Shemot, what's the perek? Okay, you don't know. Neither do I, so don't worry. Here. Below Yaminu li. Okay, hold on. Here we go. ודיברת על שפת הדברים עליו ואנוכי פיך, where are you? Maybe it's over here. If your father was here, he would have told me already. The burning bush here. Yeah, nope. Well, that's interesting. It says another. Ki ehyeh imachem, to be with you. Here we go. V'amru li ma shemo. What is your name when they ask me? Vayomer Elokim Moshe ehyeh asher ehyeh. Vayomer ko tomar libnei Yisrael ehyeh shelachani etchem. So he says the word 3 times. So ehyeh asher ehyeh is the name that Hashem uses. So look what he does. So over here, ehyeh, ekeh is what? 21. The aleph is 1, 5, and that's 15, 16. No, 20, 21, right. Okay, now look at this. Listen to this. The entire gematria of the entire parasha of Tzitzit, the 70 words, the gematria, 21,564. Okay, now if you take that number, 21,000, what do you have? The 21 is Ekeh, is the name of Hashem. 564 is the gematria of the entire pasuk that we just read. Ekeh, Asher, Ekeh. He gives an example of you have strands that are made of teat or strands that are made of zahav. I'm sorry, not strands. He asked two of his guys. One of them, go get me a clay like a signature, like a stamp, and the other one says, get me one made out of gold. Both of them didn't show up. Both of them showed up empty-handed. And what does he say? So who did he get angry at more? The one with this one, with the clay. Why? Because it's so easy to come by. How could you not bring it to me? Okay, this is someone who has a full corner garment, doesn't put on. He's going to get punished more for not wearing white tzitzit than over techel, because techel is harder to get. Rabbi Natan says, okay, this is going to be something crazy. Lo tatura harei levachem v'harei nechem. All right, so the question is, I'm going to skip this part. Tzitzit saves you from the Yetzer Hara. That's good to know. V'yitem kedushim. No, it's important because it says, the question is, Lo taturu harei levachem v'harei nechem. Don't chase after your hearts and your eyes. So the question is, what chases what? The heart chases first, or the eyes chase first? So the answer is the eyes want and the heart craves. So he brings the pasuk in Kohelet that explains that if a person goes samach bahur beyaldutech vehala bedarche libecha, which means that if you're going to go the way that you want as a kid is the derech yeshara, right? But I didn't understand this completely. But Talmud Lomad that lo tatura halei levachem, that the tzitzit protects you from your Yetzer Hara. I have to look at it again, but it's explained that your natural tendency is to want to do bad, is mischievous, is to be lazy and this and that. But tzitzit reminds you of how to do good and how to be good. Okay, and then the pasuk continues, "V'item kedushim." So the question is, what's going to be kadosh? Is the mitzvot going to be kadosh or the tzitzit going to be kadosh? And the answer is that tzitzit adds on the kedusha to Yisrael. Every mitzvah that you do when you're wearing tzitzit, the kedusha is amplified. Right? Because it says, V'item kedushim, you will be kadosh. What's going to be kadosh? The mitzvah? The mitzvot, I'm going to be, what's going to be kadosh? It doesn't say, V'item kedushim. It can be talking about anything. So it explains that the tzitzit, mosif kedusha l'Yisrael, adds on to the kedusha of Yisrael. All the mitzvot that you do when you're wearing tzitzit gets amplified, much more concentrated. And that's a beautiful thing. Also, Gemara says, this is a little tidbit, this is nice. There's three, we mentioned that tzitzit, before the tzitzit did not have a second yud. Mm-hmm. So it's 3 times the tzitzit doesn't have the yud, to show you that it's missing a yud. To show you that each when Mashiach comes, each strand, there's going to have 10 goyim holding on to it, grabbing on. Because they're going to be acknowledging that God is one, but it's too late. Because once Mashiach comes, it's too late. If I tell you where the item is, lost and found, the hide and seek doesn't work anymore. It's got to be when you're not. So it comes out 1,800, you're going to have 1,800 avadim. The Gemara says, Zohar brings that down also. The Gemara actually says 2,800, and the other places says 1,800. It's interesting. But either way, I'm fine with either. Now comes something crazy. Okay, now comes something crazy. There's, the Rabbi Natan explains that the mitzvah of tzitzit, the Sakkal of tzitzit, is so strong that you can get it in Olam Hazeh and in Olam Haba. What does that mean? He brings a story, a maaseh that happened from the yeshiva Rabbi Hiya. There was a guy who heard that there is a zona, one of the most beautiful zonot, and the most unbelievable thing ever, 400 golden coins. He said he's going. He traveled, he paid, and the Gemara goes in detail of what happened. He goes and he's removing his clothing. The Gemara explains there were 7 beds. Each one of the beds had a silver ladder going to the next one. And he's undressing and going to the next one. She's undressing, going to the next one. Till he gets to and then the only thing left on his body was his own tzitzit. Now you have to know that the Gemara explains that this guy he was very careful with the mitzvah of tzitzit. Other mitzvot not so much, clearly, but the mitzvah of tzitzit was very close. The Gemara says that the tzitzit smacked his face, like it nicked him, it hit him, and he fell off the bed, and she also fell with him. They both fell off the bed, and she got insulted. She got insulted. She said, "What, you don't do? What, am I not good enough? Well, what's the problem?" So he says, "Of course, you're the most beautiful woman I ever saw, but we have a mitzvah that Hashem gave us, and it's called tzitzit. And each one of these four corners are going to testify me in Olam Haba what I did wrong. So I'm sorry," and it saved him, and he didn't do it.
What does that mean each one of these four corners is going to testify?
You had four corners.
Yeah.
Everything in your life is going to testify, good or bad.
Oh, okay.
So these tzitzit, no one sees you more than your tzitzit, because they're with you all the time. So they're going to be testifying.
Okay.
So she tells him she didn't allow him to leave until he told her his name, where he's from, and where he studies. She wanted to know those three things. He gave it to her. She wrote it. The Gemara says she wrote it on a paper. He leaves and goes back and says, "All right, let's keep this one to ourselves." Okay. She ends up selling her stuff, giving a third of it to Rome, donation to the treasury, a third of it to the aniyim of the town, and a third of it she kept for herself. She goes and finds this yeshiva where this guy is studying, the Rabbi Hayyaz yeshiva, and goes to the Rosh Yeshiva, the Zonah, goes to the Rosh Yeshiva and tells him she wants to convert. And he says, "Why do you want to convert? You saw one of the boys here that you want to marry, so you want to convert? Because we don't do that here." And she pulls out the paper and tells the Rosh Yeshiva the entire story. And she tells him that I sold all my stuff. The Torah. If the Torah is so strong to protect somebody from doing a sin like this, it must be emet, and I want in. Rabbi Hayyaz says that he allowed her to convert and marry the guy, the kid.
Oh my God!
So that Rabbi Natan say that you get to have the Sakkal Olam Hazeh and Olam Haba. That's exactly what he said, because the tzitziot protect you. It's surrounding you. It's protecting you. Okay, and also another thing, and a final thing, we have Tehillim, right? We have Kof Mem Hey, that's Ashrei Yishrei B'Techa, which really starts Tehillah David. We say it every day, right? David Amir wrote this to inform the world the Gadlut of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, to let the world know who Hashem is and how amazing Hashem is. He explains that Tzitzit is doing the same thing. Why? How many letters are in Tehillah David, the Mizmor and Tehillim? 644. You know which Tehillim, right? That whole thing, 644. If you take the Milui of Tzitzit, what's the Milui? You spell out each letter. Sadi is spelled Sadi, Dalid, Yud. How do you spell Yud? Yud, Vav, Dalid. Right? Look at this, Yud. That's how you spell, okay? If you do that, what's the Gematria? 644. How many letters are in Tehillah David, which informs the whole world about who God is? 644 letters. The same Gematria of the Milui of Tzitzit, 644. Okay, to show you the connection. Remember, Gematria is all about bringing the connection. Mm-hmm. So yeah, you saw a connection on Shabbat. You saw a connection about Yetziat Mitzrayim, about Hashem's name. You see a connection now about the Gadlut of Hashem, telling everybody the Gadlut of Hashem. Now, the final thing is we look at the first word is what? Tehillah. The last word is Va'ed. The last word in Tehillah David. The first word is Tehillah. The last word Va'ed. Together, the Gematria is 520. The Gematria Petil Techelet, 520. Remember, Petil Techelet, right? One strand of Techelet. One strand. Petil is this. Okay? The Gematria of the word Petil is 520. Remember, when we say we see the Techelet, what do we remember? The Yam, the Rakia, Kiseh HaKavod. Gematria, Beyam, Berakia, Kiseh, 520. You see a connection between the Tehillah David, 644 with Tzitzit. You see a connection with the first word and the last word, equal 520, which is also the same Gematria of the word Petil, regarding Tzitzit, regarding Techelet, which Techelet is meant to remind you about the sea, the Rakia, and Kiseh HaKavod, also Gematria 520. So many things are here that you just need to pay attention to know what they are. You just need to know and see what they're about. And the Ora Haim explains that B'haya lachem tzitzit. Hold on. Why dafka did he remember the Gemara, the story in the Gemara was said that the king gave two, remember he wanted two rings. He gave one guy to give clay and the other one to give zahav. Right? Remember the king, and then we said that he's going to get more mad at the one that didn't bring the clay because that's more readily available and he should have figured out how to get it.
Yeah.
So why dafka? So the Orach Chaim says, why dafka tit? Why did the Gemara say clay, specifically clay? It says, so he brings the Tosfot. It says, ma shemedame hotam shel tit lesitzit, kach osim la'avadim. V'asitzit me'ida yiseh shehem avdei Hashem. The purpose, because everybody has a signet ring, and a lot of times it was made out of clay. So the question, why is clay, why did Rabbi Natan or Rabbi Meir explain this example with clay? Tzitzit. Remember we said tzitzit, if a guy doesn't wear it, he's worse off if he doesn't wear lavan as opposed to wearing techelet. Because to show you that we're still avadim. We just transferred ownership. We went from Mitzrayim to Hashem. We are still avadim of Hashem. We are not our own person. It does not mean we could do whatever we want. Okay? Because also he explains that when a person sees this siman, it's a siman of the fact that you're an Eved to Hashem. You are an Eved, right? We call it Avodat Hashem. We are an Eved. So when you see this, it's going to remind you that we're not free to do whatever we want. And it's not okay to eat and dress and drink and do what you want. Because we are an Eved and Hashem is our Father and our King. Right? And it's supposed to help you. Remember we learned in Shad Bitachon, right? We learned that the purpose of you is what Hashem wants is to change Ateva, change who we are. We are lazy. Hashem, no, not be lazy. But you're not born with so much muscle, but you could build muscle. Right?
Yeah.
I could lift more than you, by the way.
Spiritually for sure.
The whole purpose is to remember that the tzitziyot are there as a symbol. These are a symbol. You're going to look at them, you're going to remember Hashem Echad. You're going to remember that just like the Shabbat is Keneged Kol HaTorah Kula, all the mitzvot, so is tzitzit. We learned about Moshe Rabbeinu being Anav. We learned about the 8 strings all around that we don't need them on Shabbat. Also, by the way, tefillin. We don't have to wear tefillin on Shabbat, but we wear tzitzit on Shabbat. We learned about David HaMelech, how the majority of our simanim are really tzitziyot, because that's 4, and all the other ones are 1. We learned about that this is a symbol that we have to remind ourselves that we have to worship Hashem. We learned, remember Hashem Echad. Remember Eset Sefirot, Hamisham She Torah. Right? There's many other things that we learned. And I'm doing this because, I'm happy to give you the car. Because I know you'll be responsible and you will not call me and tell me you did something to it. Okay? But I want you to benefit twofold. So after the summer's over, you're going to come to the fact that saying, I'm learning to like it, I want to keep doing it. I don't want to stop just because I have to give the car back.
Okay. I'll keep the car, yeah.
You ain't keeping the car. Tesla's mine. It's my DNA. That's it. All right? I have to talk to it tonight to let it know that and it's okay. Okay? But I really want you to but I couldn't expect you not. By the way, also, you know what else? There's 4 corners. Why Dafka did Hashem want the tzitzit to be our symbol? Because he covers 4 corners of the world. Hashem is in control of all 4 corners of the world. Right? And these are the things that are important to know. And it goes into, by the way, I just tipped the serve, but I spent a lot of time putting this together because I really want you to understand what the tzitzit is about and how it's pride. You gotta wear it with pride. I think I told you this, where one summer I didn't wear tzitzit for like a week, remember? Because it's 120 degrees by me.
Okay.
And the ironers and the dryers, and in the summer where it's 100 degrees outside, it's 120 degrees inside. It gets hotter because we produce heat. So one time I say, I'm not going to wear tzitzit. I'll give it up one time. And what I ended up doing, so the week went on, and then one of my managers asked me, she says me in Spanish, she goes, ¿Dónde está la camisa de tu poner adentro? Where's that shirt you put underneath all the time? Where is it? So she embarrassed me. I told her, oh, it's too hot, this and that. But I got so embarrassed. It was the last day I ever didn't put tzitzit on. The last day I never put tzitzit. I always put tzitzit after that. I came up, because you come home, you're not taking your pants off, you're peeling them off. The money in my pocket was wet. That's how sweaty. I'm not kidding. Okay? So I didn't have to wear it. But I don't want to look at this as my obligation. God willing, one day you're going to get married. Last thing you want to tell your wife is that it's my obligation to be with you. No, I want to be with you. I love you.
Yeah.
And the same thing with the tzitzit. Same thing with all the mitzvot. All right? And the zechut to that, you should really learn to love it. Baruch Adonai Le'olam. Amen ve'amen.